So I talked a lot about different data points here. Some of them were great, some of them weren't all that great, but it all comes down to them being identified as two different types of data points, and that's a lagging versus a leading metric. So I'm gonna make a bold statement right now, and everybody who hears this that's watching this is gonna be like, well, why in the heck am I watching this module if you're about to say what you're about to say? So let's just say data has no inherent value at all. Nothing. They're numbers. Numbers are absolutely useless unless they have intent and context. I cannot stress this point enough. Just having data is useless. Using the data is really where the power comes from. And I believe understanding the difference between a leading and a lagging measure really makes it easier for you to utilize data in a right way and ask the right types of questions. So let's start with lead measures. So lead measures are an indicator of performance that might predict the future. They're not like, with a crystal ball or anything like that. Like, they are useful pieces of information that should connect to larger pieces of information, right? Like a lead to a sale, okay? Think of them like that. The two most important characteristics of these is that they're predictive and they're influenceable, right? Predictive and influenceable, right? Here's an example. Calories per day. I'm in complete control of the number of calories I put in my body a day. I'm in complete control of the number of mostly complete control of the calories I burn throughout the day. I guess metabolism comes into play here. But I'm in complete control of these things, right? And it's safe to say that these are indicating metrics to its associated lagging measure, which I'm gonna let you think about right now. I'll share it when we get to lagging measures. So departmental KPIs are an example of leading measures. So at Digital Marketer, we have our North Star metrics that we kind of report on the company level. And then each department has their own metrics that they look at that will then, we believe, will be associated to those lagging measures. So if I'm looking at members in Digital Marketer Lab, I'm going to have marketing tell me how many leads and how many trials they're getting in Lab, right? They shouldn't have to own the number of members that go into there. They just need to drive trials, whereas product needs to own membership and retention, right? So all of those different types of measures are leading measures for each department. So if you have a company with multiple departments, you really want to start looking at a scorecard for them, and that will be your leading measure for your overall company metrics. So, all right, cool. Like, I kind of gave some vague bit of information of what leading measures are there, but it's kind of easy. They're a lot easier to find than you'd think. At Digital Marketer, we thought that all of these key metrics were key metrics for marketing, that we need to measure and look at all these things. Look at this. It's not stopping. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Keeps going. We're not done yet. We're absolutely not done yet. That is 33 leading metrics. And what did I say? I said you need 3 to 5 per department. That's crazy. That's craziness right there. There's no way we're going to be able to tell a decent data story with a causal relation to our main company goals. You're just not going to be able to do it. You're going to get lost in the data. So those 33 key metrics, as opposed to, again, for each department here, 4, 3, 4. And these are sub-departments within marketing. So acquisition, monetization, social. So on the social and community side of things. So 11 metrics across 3 sub-departments of social, email, and acquisition. Pretty cool, right? Instead of 33. That's a pretty big deal. And these, we believe to be our best leading metrics. And really kind of the trick here is when you pick a leading metric, know when to verify if it's a leading metric at all, right? So how do you pick the right leading metric? Here's an answer to you. You take your best guess. You take your best guess at what you believe will influence your lagging measures, right? So I believe that trials will get us more members, which will get us more revenue, right? I believe that more leads will get us more trials. Now, to what volume that looks like, what that percentage looks like, It could go up or down per channel, but those were my beliefs. And you can verify those beliefs over 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to see if there is a causal relationship between them. So not a leading metric. Goes back to what's my revenue per visitor in December, right? We've only asked this question once. It's more or less a vanity metric for something that we can use for cost per clicks for affiliates or anything like that. It's not useful. It's not leading. It's not an indicator of anything. $1.81 per visitor in December. What does that do? Maybe if we said, okay, if we upped our, if that was actually valuable, we'd be saying, if we could increase our revenue per visitor and also increase visitors, we should see more revenue. But that's a really backwards way of doing it. But definitely a leading metric for us was how many new lab trials this week, right? I get asked this every day. Where are trials at? Where are they looking? How are they doing? And I needed a good answer. I needed to know at any given time how many trials were in there because we knew what the percentage of trials that would roll over, and we knew what our average customer value was. Knowing those types of things, we're able to know and predict what we'll see as an increase or decrease in revenue. Okay, great. Leading measures, throw a dart, guess, verify. Cool. But they really don't make the cash register ring. Leads do not make businesses for the most part. Lagging measures will generally do those. So a lagging measure, and this is important, it's an indicator of past performance. You cannot directly influence a lagging measure at this point, right? So an indicator of past performance that measures how we performed, specifically how those leading measures performed, right? Now that's where you're starting to see the relationship between leading and lagging, right? So they are lag measures because by the time you get the data, the results have already happened. They already happened, it's in the past. You're just reporting on it. So it'd be like stepping on the scale. Remember I said a leading measure would be how many calories do I take in and how many calories do I take in per day over a month? I'll start seeing those benefits as what I see is that number on the scale a lot later, right? If I stopped, if I was like, 2,000 calories a day or 1,800 calories a day for 3 weeks, and then I just went 4,000 calories a day, and then later on I'm like, gosh, nothing happened. You can start looking at the relationship in the past of why you didn't hit that goal weight you were looking for. So then you can look at kind of the company-wide metrics, your kind of cornerstone milestones, whatever you want to call them. Those are your lagging measures. So for us, it was membership between all of our accounts and ticket sales for our events. Those were the things that we wanted to influence. We're like, these are the key things that are going to drive our goals. Those become your lagging measures. So how do you pick the right lagging measure? They are your business essentials. Simply put, these won't change all that often. They are the business essentials for that season of your business. And if you have a new company, you might have different lagging measures that you're trying to influence as you're kind of in that growth phase. But if you're a more established company, it's going to be about the same. Lagging measures are pretty easy ID, but they're way, way harder to move. Your ultimate goal as a marketer, as someone who is jumping into the data and optimization world, is to find causal relationships between leading and lagging measures and put all your efforts there. Okay, that's what's important. When you know you have the right lagging ones, when you know you've identified the right leading ones, you want to be able to start focusing on ways to influence those directly. And that's why you need data and analytics across the board to make sure that you are influencing them. Again. So setting goals. Anytime people are saying, hey, I want to have this many members, or what's our membership status like? It's great to ask where it is, but you need to have something at stake here. There always needs to be a goal. Data isn't merely a report, right? Always, always, always have something at stake. If you're just saying, hey, we have 2,000 members, or we got 2,000 members this month, great. Well, what did we expect to get, right? So we always have a week over week change. For some things, we look at month over month changes to see if we can find trend lines, but we always want to look at percent of monthly goal in comparison to where you are in the month, right? Always have a goal. Always, always, always. So if you have none of those, you're like, hey, I don't really know where we should be going, what I can expect from these campaigns. Just guess. Seriously. Ryan Dice had to beat out of me, not figuratively beat out of me. I had to make sure I knew those ones there. But had to beat out of me my whole, I need to know all the data points before I give you an estimate. I'm not saying estimate, I'm saying guess. Make your best guess. If you're if you're way under, okay, now you know where to focus for the next step. But if you're way over, then you just sandbagged it. So you need to try and find your best shot there. Like, I think based on our previous efforts, we could probably bring in X number, and then kind of keep it there and go. But if you don't have a goal, you'll never have something to look towards and measure your efforts. So in terms of data sources, I know I kind of talked through this a little bit earlier, but you'll be pulling data from your customer CRM, your e-commerce platform, Google Analytics, Facebook Ad Manager, Google Ad Manager, testing technologies, email service providers. But remember, don't expect the data across these platforms to be identical. They never will be. They're always they're always combating each other. Your CRM wants to look like the hero. Facebook wants to look like the hero. Google wants to look like the hero. Your affiliates want to look like the hero, right? So here's kind of an example of an analytics platform. So the useful data points are, previous performance, growth loss trends, desired outcomes. So what do you need? And then not always perfect, but it's a great start. If you're new to data, get good at Google Analytics. Get really, really good at that. I highly, highly recommend that. Next, you have Facebook Ad Manager. If you've never been in there, here's kind of what it looks like at the account overview level. But where does this exist and where will we be looking in the CVJ? At the awareness stage, engagement stage, subscribe stage, and convert stage. Probably you could make a case for Excite and Ascend with retargeting, but this is kind of the main purpose for Facebook. Google, aware, engage, subscribe, convert. Similarly to Facebook, could probably make a case for Excite, but again, those are retargeting audiences, and you're going to be doing a lot more things across different verticals. Analytics provider, every single one. Really, really make sure that you get good at using your analytics provider, regardless of who you're using. Your email service provider. This is going to tell you convert, excite, and ascend. Your CRM, convert, excite, ascend, potentially promote. And your cart, convert, excite, ascend. Finally, with your affiliate interface, which we actually kind of jumped back into doing. This is going to be in your advocate and promote. And then I know I didn't talk about any specialist tools because really they can go anywhere in the funnel. If you're using something like Sprout Social, that's going to be more in engage and excite. If you're using something like Drift, that's going to be in convert, subscribe, excite, ascend. If you're using something like Opt-in Monster for pop-ups, that's going to be purely at subscribe and convert. So you'll want to make sure whatever tools you're using to fit them into the value journey, right? So I know we all use these fun specialty tools and they're super, super useful, but make sure you know where they fit and you're using them the right way. And then to compare their analytics to your analytics provider or to an associated tool that is within that same part of the value journey.